Hey everyone, welcome back to Maker on the Run. I'm your host Crenshaw, and this is Shop Quest, episode 3. Each week on Shop Quest, I slowly convert this 1800s barn full of props and set dressing into my ultimate fabrication and makerspace. I didn't think anything could have beaten my 21 takes last week, but this week showed me otherwise. This has been a hard week. I thought last week's episode was hard doing the intros, and I literally did 21 takes last time. This has been even harder, and I don't really know why, but needless to say, I'm back, and we're still moving ahead. Today, I've got some interesting things that happen. One of those is my new friend, Jack. That's right, guys. I have a bird now who's decided to join this adventure. He sits at the window every day now and taps at it every time I'm out here working. It's kind of crazy, but welcome, Jack. Thanks for coming. On another note, I also found a notebook that I did not think I still had, which leads to this week's story. Before we do that, though, I just want to take a moment and just say to everyone, I'm hoping you're all safe, using social distancing, being smart, and taking care of one another. I know we can get through this. It's hard, but together we can. Stay strong. With all that said, you know what that means. It's time for a montage. Because after that, we get to the story, and baby, we're going overseas on this one. So right now, a little Tom Falls and some Silk Royal Showcase, and I'll be right back. I'm Crenshaw, Maker on the Run. Maker on the Run International. What's that about, you may ask? Good question. It's because this week, while cleaning up the barn, I uncovered this notebook and a series of other notebooks that I had with me while I was working in, that's right, the Philippines. This is an epic adventure that begins with this notebook. Why not? Episode 3, why not just jump into something epic, right? If you know me, you know that I did a lot of time in the Philippines, working. And while there, I had some insane adventures. You may have heard one piece of it, you may have heard a rumor of it, but this time now, on camera, we're going all the way through it, piece by piece. And this week, our story begins at the beginning with a phone call. So I had just finished working on a project and had a little downtime when I got a call from a production designer friend of mine who had a job he was unable to take. He asked me if I might be interested, and I said, of course, yes. I've got nothing to do. Sure, why not? I'm in. So a few days later, I got a phone call from the producer. She informed me that I'd be working for an eccentric millionaire and that he had built a beautiful campus with sound stages, with offices, buildings holding props and equipment, an ATM. It had a tiki bar and was right along the beach. Studio on the beach? Did you say studio on the beach? Oh man, does that sound great. I couldn't wait. The producer then went on to tell me that it was a 1.5-year commitment. That's hard, but sure, why not? She then told me that I would also have to bring my own art department, which was great because at the time I had an amazing art department and a particularly talented skinny art director. She then went on to tell me that they had their own fleet of vehicles, drivers, and that the studio grounds were guarded and gated 24/7. That's even better. Excellent. And then, to put the icing on the cake, she asked me if I could be ready and have everyone in the Philippines in a week. I said no. In this industry, nothing happens in a week. I told her the best I could do was bring myself and my art director probably in a week, but the rest of my team, they would have to come later. She agreed, and so I grabbed my skinny art director, I packed up my life in a few boxes in a suitcase, I packed up all my essentials, and jumped on a plane and flew to the Philippines. I had my Xbox, by the way. Man, that was a long, cold flight. We were in the last two seats, both of us crammed as tight as we could like sardines the entire way. We arrived way after dark, and obviously the last flight in, as the airport had closed behind us. So, my skinny art director and I pulled all of our bags to the curb and looked for our ride. I'm sorry, what ride? I'm sorry, ride? Yeah, no, there was no ride. We stood on the street and watched as taxis and vans picked everybody else up, but not us. We waited, more people left, it got quieter, and then there was no one left. The two of us, all of our belongings, just waiting to be robbed. I'm a big guy, and I had a tall, skinny art director, but I was still pretty nervous. There was nothing, in fact. It was just us, and I mean nothing else. Everyone else was gone. We did manage to get a police officer to negotiate a reasonable price to get a cab to the studio, which we took. We jumped in the cab, sped across town and got to the studio, and then was stopped by the security guard. Man, that security guard was not ready for me. Oh, I was pissed. Yeah, you're gonna need to actually pick up that phone and call the big man. Call the boss, please. Yeah, you know that eccentric millionaire? Can you get him on the phone for me, please? Luckily, the producer got to me before I got on the phone with the eccentric millionaire. Oh man, I was steaming mad. I was so pissed off. Oh, so anyway, we got on campus, I got a hold of the producer, and we eventually got settled in. Read a script, pack up your life in a week, jump on an airplane, be a sardine for an existence, arrive in a foreign country, no one to greet you, no one knows you're coming, there's no housing when you finally get someone, there's no office, like, what have I gotten myself into? Oh shit. Oh man. Well, that's it for me, guys. Thanks again for stopping by for another episode of Maker on the Run. And I hope you enjoyed this very bizarre episode of Maker on the Run International. And thank you for keeping me honest and making me do another one of these. Man, that is a doozy of a story. And it's only part one. It gets crazier from here. Man, the mystery has just begun. There's a lot more of that coming and maybe a twist or two. Wow. That's it. Part one is in the can. That's great. Now we can move on to part two. Someday, not this week. This has been an unbelievable week, and I'm so happy we're here. I want to thank Jack. I want to thank all of you that have subscribed. If you haven't, remember, hit that button and join us. Next week, episode 4. But right now, I gotta go. That's it for me. Got no time. Maker on the Run.